This is Larry Anares making your day with an article I wrote entitled Philippine History for Those Who Have Flunked the Subject. Part 1, entitled Ginger, Pepper, Corn, and Syphilis. My dear friends, when Rome was still a cluster of mud huts, China already had a highly developed civilization. There has always been a tremendous market for Oriental goods among the Europeans, even long before Marco Polo started to actually visit the Far East. As a matter of fact, for the purchase of Oriental silks, spices, and jewels, there had once been a run on gold that drove the Roman Empire to near bankruptcy. Like us, they lost their foreign exchange reserves by importing too much spices and luxuries. On the heels of the Christianity arrived the new religion of Islam. The world of Islam within 100 years electrified men's minds by spreading rapidly east from the Middle East across Arabia to India to the East Indies, including what is now Malaysia and the Philippines and Indonesia. At the same time, Islam spread west across the desert wastes of North Africa to Gibraltar, to Spain, and parts of France, even knocking at the gates of Vienna. Capturing Constantinople, now Istanbul, Islam found itself athwart the trade routes to the Far East. It is simply impossible for modern 20th century man to comprehend what the Oriental trade was worth, particularly in spices. Their plenitude today make them cheap, but there was a time ordinary pepper was worth its weight in gold. As late as the 17th century, during the Napoleonic Wars, when the English blockaded continental Europe, pepper was sold at $462 a pound in France. As a matter of fact, the spices grown by the British in Jamaica paid 1/3 of the cost of defeating Napoleon Bonaparte. More about this after these messages. This is Larry Anares making your day with the first part of what I call Philippine history for those who had flunked the subject. Part 1, entitled Ginger, Pepper, Corn, and Syphilis. For hundreds of years since the Crusades, Europeans paid fabulous prices for spices from Southeast Asia. Cinnamon, cloves, ginger, pepper, and the myriad spices of the Orient were the tang of life to Europeans. Then, as now, civilized men could do without necessities, but their luxuries they must have. And it is this obsession that gave birth to the age of discovery. The Chinese were the first link in the spice route to Europe. Chinese junks brought the spices from Southeast Asia to India, and from thence by Arab caravans and small ships called dhows to the Levant, which is the coastland of Asia Minor and Syria, including the coastline of Greece and Egypt. The gateway to the European trade centered in the Mediterranean port of Venice, because the Venice and the Arabs were rolling in vast profits of the Oriental trade. European nations, particularly Spain and Portugal, set out to find sea lanes to the Orient. Portugal made it around the Cape of Good Hope at the southernmost tip of Africa and found a way east to the Orient. Christopher Columbus of Spain, after whom Nora Honor's first husband was named, went west on the theory that the world was round, but never got to prove it because his journey was interrupted by an enormous mass of 2 American continents. The Spaniards found gold and silver in Mexico and Peru and shipped vast quantities back to Spain, which caused the wildest kind of inflation and the introduction of several forms of life to Europe, among them corn, tobacco, and spirochete syphilis. More tomorrow, my dear friends. This is Lara Naras making your day, saying good day, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us till next time. Hasta la bye-bye.